our planet look like in 50 years if we continue to rely on fossil fuels? And as we sit here today, we confront the stake of the reality that our choices are shaping generations to come, and the banning of fossil fuels has been a cornerstone of industrial progresses, and also yet it also is one of the leading drivers of climate change, threatening our ecosystems and also public health. And as we gather here, we stand at a crossroads where the reliance on carbon based energy sources has not only fueled our economies but also contributed significantly to the climate crisis that we now face. My name is Emma Kwaje, and I am honored to be the moderator for today's panel discussion on a critical, timely topic and on the impact of carbon, particularly fossil fuels, on accelerating climate change and its harmful effects on on the environment and also the human life. Our panel consists of a very diverse group of experts, of journalists, environmentalists, doctors, lawyers, corporate leaders, and also government officials. So each one of them will be able to present compelling arguments for and also against the motion, where we will be able to ensure that there is a very rich exchange of ideas between the two proponent sides and also the opponent side. So today we will explore the motion that states the usage of fossil fuels, particularly carbon-based energy sources such as petroleum products and natural gas, is one of the primary contributors to global climate change. We will discuss the urgent need to transition towards more efficient green energy sources like solar power or the rest. So we have a distinguished panel of experts today, comp- uh, comp- uh, comprising of both proponents and opponents of this motion. So each of the panelists will be able to present their arguments, and we will allow for a very dynamic exchange of ideas. So I would love to take this opportunity to introduce our panelists for today. On my right hand side, the proponent side, we have our first speaker, that is Gabriel Mabor Majok, who is a journalist and a proponent of this motion. We also have Emmanuel Mane, who is an environmentalist. We also have in the other far end, we have Samuel Lat, who is a doctor and also a proponent of this motion. On my left hand side, and on my first here, we have Isaac Jani, who is a CEO of a large manufacturing company. And we also have the next person in the middle, who is Henry McKenney, who is a lawyer and an opponent of this motion. We also have our last panelist, that is Martin Govid Odua, who is a senior government official, and he is also going to oppose this motion. Going directly to our panel discussion for today, I would like to give this opportunity to our first speaker for today, who is a journalist, to please share his argument in support of the motion that we are discussing today. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, moderator. My name is Gabriel Mabomajok. I'm a journalist reporting on climatic change and weather studies on the agreement of the physical change. I'm supporting the correction of physical field to be stopped, because we have several effects that affecting the community in the world, especially in South Sudan. The first effect is which is caused by climatic change is drought. A drought is affecting some communities and their livestock in the parts of the world as well as South Sudan, especially the side of Eastern Equatoria. Every year, cases of drought are being reported in that area, which makes some community and their livestock not comfortable. And also we have a second point is the flooding. Flooding is affecting almost all part of South Sudan. The issue of climatic change has stopped everything, and it affect some crops. Like we have two types of crops, like sorghum or cereals, and the cash crop. The cash crop are the crop that which which are to be harvested shortly for 3 months or 2 months. And the long life crops, especially cereals, will take almost something like 10 months or 11 months are severely affected by drought. Late production of field production is stopped such that our communities have to be free from all these conditions caused by physical field. Thank you.
And you talked about the draft and how it is affecting and all these things. It affects specifically to making, he said there is now low agricultural production, and because of these causes of climate change, because we find there is no rainy, it's supposed to be rainy season, but there is no rain and all these things. As a journalist, what do you think is the role, uh, media's role? Because media plays a very big role when it comes to awareness about the impact of these fossil fuels. What do you think? Can you elaborate on specific examples that where media coverage has led to a very tangible change in policy or in public policy or in the perceptions of people when you're talking about the the impact of the fossil fuels?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing to be done is sensitization of the communities. Communities need to be sensitized to be resilient against 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 the cause of climatic change. So they need to be educated such that they know the role they should use to protect themselves from this dangerous climatic change, which is affecting everyone, including even the countries that which are not producing oil are also affected by this climatic change. Awareness need to be done. All form of media houses are supposed to be given awareness to sensitize the community, especially radio broadcast should be used because radio is widely used in case of South Sudan. Radio is almost covering all part of South Sudan. So communication and awareness should be designed in a local language that we can bring all the communities to understand. I mean, local languages should be used such that every community get understand that there is danger of climatic change going on.
Thank you so much, our journalists, for these great arguments. And he has talked about a lot of things. Uh, but first, let's go and listen to our next speaker, that is the environmentalist. The usage of fossil fuels has, particularly carbon based energy sources such as petroleum products and also natural gases, has a lot of, it has been having a lot of contributions to global change, as said by so many environmentalists. What do you have to say? What could be your point of argument when we're talking about this in support of this motion?
Okay, by name Emmanuel Manu Erico. I am the environmentalist. Yeah, then based on what been mentioned before, uh, I would like to say about it. So allow me me to go directly to my points. So I would like to start with one that is carbon dioxide emission. This one can happen when burning fossil fuel such as what, oil, oil and what we call natural gas that release large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide main greenhouse gas that are responsible for the effects of the global warming. Even the concentration of, of carbon dioxide in atmosphere has increased dramatically since the industrial revolution has reached into higher level. This is bad on on okay, let me say on human health through through dumping of the chemical uh, into the water. This can cause what? This can cause even water pollution.
So, as an environmentalist, what do you think? Um, what are some of the like? Are there some evidences that has shown what you've said, like the global warming things and all these things? Are there some evidences that are there that has caused the harm to the people or to the environment?
Yeah, according to what I said, yeah, it was even last year that we have been suffering from the sun heat. That almost even our school been suspended for the number of the days. That one due to what? Higher temperature that are caused, eh, are caused by by okay, let me say the high number of the industries in the country where they used to produce things and even when when their smoke get into air, it can cause what? Uh, Climatic change, which is very dangerous.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's move to the opponent side. Let's have our lawyer, that is none other than Henry, to tell us what points he has when we are talking about his argument against this motion that we are having, that is the usage of fossil fuels, particularly carbon-based energy sources such as petroleum products and natural gas, is one of the primary contributors to global climate change. So, Mr. Henry, you're most welcome.
Thank you. I'm by name Henry McKay. I'm a lawyer specialized in the environmental law. My aim of partnership is to protect the environment and the public health through the legal framework stimulated into international duties, the national legislatives and the local regulation. The legal frameworks are the law governing carrying mismanagement of the fossil fuel and the carbon emission that contaminate the environment. We have international duties. The Kyoto Protocol was adopted in 1997 and entered into the force in 2005 in Japan, marking it is the first illegal building international treaties aim and reduce the greenhouse gas emission, including those fossil fuels. The Paris Agreement was adopted on the December 12, 2015 during the United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change. This agreement aimed to limit the global temperature global temperature rise and commitment for the country to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. We have also the national legislatives and regulation framework in South Sudan. In South Sudan, extraction and the usage of the fossil fuel are governed by combining of the national legislatives and regulation. Okay. We have the Petroleum Act 2012. This is the primary legal framework governing the exploration, production, and the management of the petroleum in the South Sudan. We also have the Act Land 2009. This law addresses the ownership issue, which is critical of the exploitation and the exploitation activity, ensuring that the land right and respected. We also have the Local Government Act 2009 focus on the government local level. The act is also including the provision that can affect how the local authority manage the natural resources, including fossil fuel.
How do you address some of the counter arguments that is presented by the proponent side?
The environmental stay before a lot of things, but I have the impact and the benefits of using the fossil fuel in our environmental. I have good 5 reasons. One, economic resilience and adaptation of the strategy, because many regions are investing in construction of improvement, renewable energies source and sustain the agricultural practice. It can create a lot of opportunity to our society, and it can lead to the economic growth, which is also one of the points, the impacts of the oil poison. We also have the tactical advancement. Tactical advancement plays a great role addressing the climate change, reliable energy. This advancement, dictatorial advancement, not only have the combat of the climate, it also change and it also bring the new industry and create the job opportunity to our employee. That is the second benefit. We also have the historical context of the climate variability. The historical concept of the climate variability has also been a subject to the natural variability over the geological time scale. The historical data show the Earth has undergone the substantial climate shifts long before industrialization. Fourth, the potential benefit of the warming globalization. Some studies indicate the central region experience benefit for a warmer climate. It also affects the others, but it can benefit the others people. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Um, Moving next, let's go and listen to the PPO, um, who is also an opponent of this motion. So let us listen to what are your points of arguments in regards to this motion.
Okay. Thank you so much for having this opportunity, Ms. Emma, the moderator of the session. My name is Isaac Jain. I'm the CEO. Based on the points that have been made by the proponents, I would like to say that they're right at some points. But here on our side, at the company, we know that when we're doing things, we do them based on advantages and disadvantages. So we found out that the advantages of producing fossil fuel are more than the advantages of fossil fuel. First, before I go deeply, we have to let you know that we have three types of fossil fuels. First is oil, second is coal, and third is natural gas. So these three types of fossil fuel constitute or account for 80% of the total energy worldwide in regard to consumption. Fuel that is refined from oil is used for generating electricity. That is one advantage. Again, our cars run on fuel that is refined from oil. Our airplanes and jets runs on fuel that is refined from oil. And more importantly, we have some medicines also made from petroleum, which is the crude one. And again, we have plastic that is used for making materials, such as chairs, stools, and so forth, also made from plastic that are which are the products that come as a result of the oil refining. And again, let us come to natural gas is used in cooking, in heating the house, in melting what is so called aluminum. When it comes to coal, coal is one of fossil fuel which is mined. It has three types, of course. It is used for making electrical utilities. It is used for making aspirin that is used for treating wounds. If someone is wounded or injured, that person can be cured using aspirin. And again, we have soap. The soap that we use for washing clothes is also created or made from coal. And again, we have plastic also. Plastic is made from coal. And also, coal can be used in industries, so as steel industries. We have it also used in making medicines, just like crude oil. Again, it's also used in manufacturing paper. It's also used in making medicines. So if we stop producing those fossil fuels, I don't think no one can survive. Meaning that our life as human beings depends on the usage of fossil fuel. So I would like to say that we will not stop producing them. What we'll do, we will come out with mechanism that can minimize the harm that they cause to civil population, especially in areas which are oil producing areas like here in South Sudan. We have three places. We have Unity State, we have Ruwen, and finally we have Apanal State in a place called Palech. So those areas experience those kind of negative impact. But when it comes to South Sudan again, our economy is dependent 99% on oil. So if we stop producing oil today, it means that our country will stop, or our government will stop operating, since there's no money that it can use for operating or that it can use for running the country. Finally, fossil fuels are very important because they're accessible and cheap. They can also be transported via pipeline, and they can be stored for so long. For instance, we have coal that coil can store for almost 200 years, and they cannot be affected by season, unlike new renewable energy that are affected by season. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. CEO Isaac. You mentioned about the importance of fossil fuels also in maintaining the industry standards and all these things. So, can you discuss or can you share with us any innovative practices that your company is having or is implementing to reduce the carbon emissions while you are still relying on the fossil fuels?
Yeah, uh, as oil company, uh, in the past, we put there were mechanism, but those mechanisms are no longer useful anymore. As for now, we have designed or we have devised policies that aim at deepening the pits that are used for storing waste. And again, we encourage people uh, not to bring or not to stay in places which are near to west, which are near to the areas or to places where wastes are stored. So uh, we have come out with that idea because we have seen a lot of negative effects based on we come out as a result of when the feed is full of waste, it can spill over.
Thank
But with the new policy, we have come out with a policy of deepening those feeds so that waste can be stored properly without having impact, such as land irrigation, land water pollution, and air pollution.
All right, thank you so much. Uh, and finally, to our last speaker, that is a government official who is Mr. Martin, who is a government official and also opposing this motion for today. So, what arguments do you have for us? Your counterpoints before I ask you other questions.
South Sudan is relatively a low emitter of fossil fuel and carbon dioxide. The country's contribution to global energy is minimal. The South Sudan should not bother to reduce the use of fossil fuel. There is lack of consensus within the scientific community to the extent of human-caused climate change. We have other factors like volcano, which also the major contributor of climate change and global warming. Reducing fossil fuel has significant impact to the government. South Sudan cannot do without the fossil fuel use. So it is important for the government to at least increase the use of fossil fuel rather than reducing it, because it will hinder the government efforts to create more jobs, and cutting the carbon dioxide. Restricting it will lead to energy security. There will be unrest. There will be high price of energy. So there should be an approach that look at minimizing the use of fossil fuel while working on developing another alternative, but not abruptly leaving the fossil fuel. Most people cannot afford the solar energy, as people are saying, going to green energy. It's something gradual, should not be taken aggressively. It takes time. The government is working hard to look at the mechanism to address all the concerns raised. In regards to the pollution in the oil fields, the children born abnormal, the government is aware of that. It is looking at the mechanism that will both benefit the inhabitants of the region. It can be moved away from the production areas such that not to affect the life of the children. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Martin. What specific policies do you think, uh, or do you believe will mitigate the negative impacts of the fossil fuels? Speaking from your point as a government official.
Well, the government is working with the partners concerned to address the issue and to mitigate the impact, of fossil fuel. It is not a gradual solution. It takes time to address. As a country, as South Sudan depend heavily on the use of fossil fuel. For economy like South Sudan, who is depending heavily on that, cannot desert the use of fossil fuel abruptly.
So, Samuel, let the floor is yours to share with us your arguments.
And for me, I can say the climate change toward the use of fossil fuel on the environment can cause harmful effects, especially to the human health and even to the environment. For example, like the production of some gases like nitrogen and sulfur dioxide, they can cause, there is this disease called air pollution and respiratory disease. And within this point, I can say it can cause many diseases. We have a disease called eczema. Eczema is one of the diseases being caused by the uh, pollution of air. Like when the person who breathes in the air being polluted with such or certain of the gases being produced, the person might get infected with eczema. Another disease is lung cancer. It's not far away uh, from this infection coming from air pollution. You can also get infected through breathing in this polluted air. You can also have something called lung cancer. Therefore, as a doctor, I would like to give credit to the CEO of this gas manufacturing company. Be really cautious on the effects being caused by the production of these gases. And then we also have heart problems. Within this heart problem, it can cause something like something that is called hypertension. Like hypertension is like it's not far away from breathing in the contaminated or the polluted air. All of us should take the concern of the children. We should keep away children far from the places that we can produce the oil or the coal or even the gas. It can also cause a high rate of preterm birth. When I refer to these so-called preterm births, is when the baby is born, like in a time that is not the proper time for the baby to be born. For example, if the kid might be born, or the pregnant woman might give birth to a baby in 34 weeks, which is not the right time for the full born baby. Therefore, we should take care of this. We should look into this. Not only the government, but the CEO of the company. He should make this to be far away from the, the populated areas. So I think these are the little points I can add onto this. And thank you.
Thank you so much, uh, Dr. Samuel Lux, for that you've spoken about how you've highlighted some of the health impacts of this climate change. So, are there like some case studies that you can be able to provide to us that that illustrate the direct correlation between the fossil fuel use and also the health issues in our communities?
Well, what I can give uh, the action, the doctor, I can ask the person to act on this issue. And the action that I should take as a doctor is to create awareness, should aware of the, the CEO or the person responsible for the manufacturing company of this gas to about the human health.
Thank you so much, all the panelists, for your contributions, your arguments in support of the motion and also against the motion. So, uh, I would love to go to the lawyer. In your opinion, what roles do you think individual or does individual responsibility play in this discussion, or how can citizens contribute to the transitions? And the CEO also talked about how we can be able to, and I mean, the government official talked about how we can be able to take the people who are close to those places, who are much affected, they can be taken from these places. So how do you think that individual responsibility, if we're transitioning from these fossil fuels?
Yeah, as I've told you here that we have new mechanisms when dealing with this pollution that is taking place in oil producing areas. Uh, the first thing we have, the first step that we have taken is to create awareness among the community or the community in which this oil production is taking place. Second to that, we have also uh, devised another strategy, which is to create enough storage facilities so that waste or chemical waste can be stored, which in turn cannot affect the community or can cause water pollution and land irrigation.
Okay, thank you so much. And it's very important to see, because we are reliant on this, as you've talked about the fuels, how we rely on them for our cars, for the planes, and all these things. But then it is also important to understand about some of the effects that has the impacts it has on our daily lives or on the people and all these things. So to the government official, there are a lot of you've pointed out some of the needs to have for a balanced energy portfolio, as South Sudan is so much reliant on the oil production. So, uh, how does how does the government plan to support both the fossil fuel industries and also the transition to renewable energies? Like, for example, we can transition to maybe using solar instead of the fossil fuels that has impact in people's life. So, how do you think the government can plan to support both the fossil fuel industries and also the transition to renewable energy without compromising with either of them?
Thank you, moderator Emmanuel Akweye. Well, the government has long strategy on how to, address the issue concerning the use of fossil fuel without, taking part, without, affecting the other sectors. The government put a very long-term strategy on how to deal with this fossil fuel. Any climate action should be gradual, like that it will not interfere with government operations. Government has a lot to do with the use of fossil fuel because it is very essential for the country, for job creation, and restricting on it will cause, a lot of difficulties, especially in energy security. Our cars, gradually moving to those technology will take time. The government and the partners is working with the other NGOs to look into alternative into green energy. Shifting into this energy is not easy. It's not a 1 day or 2 years. It's a long and broader, plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Martin, for sharing that with us. And this brings us to the closure of our panel discussion for today. But I would love to give this opportunity back to also all the panelists to share what could be your last messages to everyone as a proponent and also as an opponent. What what message do you have? What last message do you have, your arguments, or how do you want to summarize all the things that you have said? We'll start with the doctor.
Well, thank you so much once again, moderator. My last message is simply I need all of us, both the doctor, the government official, the lawyer, the CEO, the environmentalist, and the journalist, to find a way we can actually create this health facility that we can actually teach or train uh, anyone to see the impact of this fossil fuel toward the lives of human beings. I think this is what I have to say. Uh, Thank you so much.
I need the official of the government and even the companies officials to make sure that they not misuse, not that misuse, but mishandle, mishandle of the chemicals that sometimes it can cause what dangerous diseases that in future it can affect our generation that are coming in future. I urge you guys to maintain your role in order to be well in our future generation, our children. Thank you.
There should be sensitization to be made to aware the community about the dangers of the climatic change caused by fuel production and the advantages of green energy to the world population. Green energy is affordable and it is clean. It cannot cause some damages or properties like fire outbreaks, which has been caused sometimes by using fuel electricity. So this need to be stopped. There should be a seminars to be organized by the government to sensitize the population about the policy of changing or transitioning from fossil fuel use to green energy. So the population need to be aware on this, and workshops also to be done such that people get ready to know what is going on. We are going to change the physical fuel, which is causing us a lot of damages and effects.
My last message uh, to the people of South Sudan, to the government, and to the community in which my company is operating is that uh, first we will construct water point and water stations in the area in which we are operating so that people and the animals will come and drink safe water that has never been there before. That is first message. Second to it, I would like to say that we will have a system in which no oil or no crude oil is filled. And again, we will make sure that all the pits that have been dug in order to store waste have to be increased to make sure that there's no water, there's no overflow. Because if waste overflow into the streams and rivers, so this one can cause a great damage. We are concerned about that. My last message is to bring doctors who are specialists in diseases caused by chemicals, or that are caused by oil pollution.
The government is aware of all the environmental challenges. The government is working on the long-term strategy and solution to find that people are safe, and that any action should be, should not hinder the use of fossil fuel, but is aware of the challenge, is working on the way forward on how to keep people safe from flooding by digging, drainage system, removing people in the higher grounds, and everybody has to be safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all our panelists for sharing your insights and the arguments today. So, this discussion has highlighted the complexities surrounding fossil fuel usage, and also its effect on climate change and also on the human health. So, each panelist has brought in their unique perspectives that have illuminated the complexities of this issue. So this conversation today, it highlights the not only the urgency of transitioning to sustainable energy sources, but also the multifaceted challenges that we face in this journey. So it is clear that while the road ahead may be fraught with obstacles, collaboration between both the proponents and also of the proponents of green energy and also those who advocate for responsible use of existing resources that we have is very essential for us to drafting a very effective solutions. So thank you all for participating, and I hope this discussion inspires us further to explore exploration of these very vital topics in our communities and also beyond. I've been the moderator for this discussion, Emma Kwaje, a journalist, and thank you all so much for taking your time to be part of this discussion. And we call it a day. Thank you.
Thank you.